A white woman just told me that cumin smells like body odor. White women, why are you like this? A spice abundant in the food of many black and brown people, South Asian people, Middle Eastern people, North African people, Mexican people. You think it smells like body odor.
Maybe it's a girl surrounded by people that usually use too much perfume? I don't know. Why is it always negative?
Let's unpack that.
Why? 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 Why?
Now, this isn't like how cilantro tastes like soap to some people. That's weirdly biological. What we find disgusting, we actually have to be taught to us. So like babies don't even think poop is disgusting when they're babies. You can read more about this in Rachel Hertz's book called That's Disgusting. So some of these things are taught cross-culturally for health reasons, etc. But often discussed as models off of social hierarchies. So essentially created to separate castes, to divide the rich and the poor, to divide locals from foreigners.
Yeah, I remember that. Just like the people that say white people can be racist, but black people and brown people cannot. You're the one that promotes this kind of message sometimes, right? Or am I wrong again?
So we have to understand that smell is racialized. And that is why this microaggression is not a new one. So a lot of black and brown kids of immigrants and immigrants of my generation grew up with white kids scrunching their noses at our foods, telling us our foods are smelly, telling us that we smell like our food. And this comes from an old Orientalist trope that Asian, South Asian, Middle Eastern, and African people, that our food is dirty and unclean and smelly. And not only that, that we are dirty and unclean and smelly.
Why is it not normal to have questions? Why is it always negative? It makes no sense. If you think I smell like body odor, I'm like, hey, I didn't put perfume today. It's okay. It doesn't mean body odor. It stinks. It might be. I would say thank you. I'll go take a shower.
So I am not upset at the sensation that this woman had when she smelled cumin. I'm upset at the lack of self-awareness that one must have to insult the person sitting across from you.
Curiosity is not an insult. Curiosity can be an insult. Why? Oh, well, yeah, if you're white.
The struggle was real.
It's so stupid.
I would bet you this is someone that considers themselves liberal and educated. So if she stopped for a second to think before she spoke, she would understand that what she was saying was a microaggression.
So even if you're on their side, be careful how you speak. If she says at the end that maybe this person is white or something, I'm a pattern recognition expert.
But she didn't, because whiteness demands that you center whiteness.
I knew this was gonna happen.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be condescending.
And in her case, demands that she centered herself and her own experience.
I just find it a little offensive that whenever I find something curious and I want to ask questions because I'm really curious, the amount of question I can ask depends on my skin color.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not.
Can you imagine somebody is saying, I'm not going to do that job. You can make me do that job, but I want other people to come and do that job illegally, in worse condition, more times a week, and lower salary. But you would say legally doing that reminds you of slavery. What about them?
Shut up and take my money.
Retained this morning, defense attorney Derek Walpole agreed to speak on behalf of Carmelo Anthony's family.
I know that my client said that it was self-defense. I don't have any reason to disbelieve that, but I needed to develop facts and talk to people and figure out what's going on before I make any statements about what I think happened. I don't have any reason to think it wasn't self-defense at this time.
And somebody wrote he is innocent. Texas has a stand your ground laws. It was self-defense. And then Colin responded, you are a moron. Getting grabbed doesn't justify you to murder. someone. Carmelo is a sensitive, emotional little guy who will spend the rest of his life in prison. And then somebody else said, police report said 2 witnesses had the twins starting a physical contact. And then Colin responded again, getting grabbed and then taking out a knife and stabbing someone in the chest is not self-defense.
Look, what y'all have to understand is that we're gonna stick by our people, win, lose, or draw. And the more that you guys come with this racist narrative, the more that y'all try to double down and try to guilt trip us and try to force us into taking the side of Austin Metcalf, the more we are going to stick by Carmelo Anthony. If you want to say we're justifying schmurder, then fuck it. We're justifying schmurder.
Justify all you want. Justify murder. Justify win, lose, or draw. You're still going to stand with him just because of his skin color. I don't think that's the right way, because other people can say the same thing. And you can read it in the police report. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under the team stand, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, touch me and see what happens. No one really thought Anthony really had the weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony. And then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what... Okay, you get what's happened. I don't understand how people are rooting for someone that stabbed another person in cold blood without provocation. I mean, all you have to do is make the person fear for their lives, and you can just look at the narrative and justify, hey, maybe it does work sometimes.
This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
It's always in the eyes.
I can't live here. That's not my America.
Tell me what I can do with my body and what I can't do with my body. You should be part of that.
I can tell what she can do with the baby inside her body, but she can tell me what I can do for her body, but not the baby.
Sounds like you're telling me what to do with my body.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you have a right, a choice. Keep the choice.
How do you not have a right of choice?
You don't have a right of choice, honey. What are you talking about? Have you, the Supreme Court? Have you listened to Roe versus Wade? Do you know anything?
Do you know at what week the heartbeat starts?
Choice. It's my body. It's my life. Choice. My choice to do what I want to do, to love who I want to love. Choice. That's all we want. Your choice can be not to, but my choice should be her too. Choice. You're taking away choice. You're taking away rights. You're what you're believing in, and I feel sorry for you. And I feel sorry for you.
Not everybody agreed with the amount of months you want to make a choice, but you had those months. But instead of being happy with those months, it seems that you wanted to push the amount of months. I think you pushed it so much that people that are even on your side were like, you know what? Maybe you're pushing too much.
Who comes first, your mom, your daughter, or your wife? Mom, daughter, wife. Daughter, wife? Wife's replaceable. Okay. Oh, wow, replaceable.
Daughter, if I'm on good terms with my wife, then wife.
Daughter? Daughter's at 1, okay. Uh-oh. Ah!
Daughter, mom, wife.
Daughter, mom, wife?
Because, you know what I'm saying? You could always find another wife.
I was raised by a single mother, so my mom's got to come first. Then my daughter.
Then your daughter.
Wife.
Then your wife.
Then my wife.
Oof. This might be a scorchingly hot take, but not one of those men answered that question correctly. In a marriage, your spouse always has to come first, because that's the only appropriate way to raise children, with the expectation that their spouse should put them first. And in a stable, loving household with low chance of divorce. And beyond that, I don't really know how to explain this phenomenon of men and their moms being unhealthily attached at the hip when they are grown up. I actually had a guy tell me one that I will never be as important to him as his mom several years into a relationship. And I don't think he meant that in a negative way. I'm glad he had a great relationship with his family. But if you are discerning spending the rest of your life with someone and your mom still ranks on the priority list, then you really aren't ready for the type of commitment that marriage requires, in my opinion.
In my situation, I don't think my wife would mind trading her spot for my sons if those two were the only choices. A question. What is more important? Your husband, your son, or your father?
My husband.
Your husband. More important. So in a boat, you will leave your father and you leave your son and take me?
In a boat? No. For me, you are more important when we say we have to be together and I have to be with you. No? And then the kids will be fine.
Ah, okay.
My father was bigger, so...
Okay.
But... it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
So you can see in a life or death situation, it's different. But if it's not life or death, it's definitely wife, son, father. And God always above.
19-year-old began her freshman year at the University of Connecticut in Hartford this fall. She's excited to study public policy, the culmination of hard work after moving north from Puerto Rico as a child.
Do you remember when you first came to Connecticut?
Yes, I remember I was very nervous, but I know it was going to be better opportunities for me to learn.
But Alicia says those opportunities never came to fruition.
Even today, could you read this, or would it take you a long time?
It's impossible. I just see his words everywhere.
Alicia graduated from the Hartford Public School System last year, but she says today she is illiterate. She still doesn't know how to read or write.
It's so condescending. Or you're normalizing being condescending because you have the same value. And you can never remind them you can't read because they're going to say, hey, you hate immigrants. I'm like, okay, whoa, what?
When she was in early education,
they would just either tell me to stay in a corner and sleep, or just draw pictures, flowers for them.
I can understand a person that is dyslexic and they need their phone to read certain things, but the idea that she can't even read at all, I think the school failed this kid, DEI or not.
And when she was in high school, she relied on speech-to-text programs and other apps to read and write essays.
So if you had an assignment where you had to write something, you'd open up a document like this and then do what?
I would go here to use the text-to-speech.
It says dictate.
Dictate, yep. I love pizza.
This is how you would do your assignments.
And then...
Cats of the World VA case.
I don't even know how to respond to that. When you graduated high school, you're 17, 18, 19 years old, and you are illiterate.
I mean, people have been warning about this, that this was going to be the new normal, but what did you do to them? Put them in boxes, race shit, Islamophobia, hate immigrants, bada bing boom bash.
And you graduated with honors. No. There's no student left behind, there's no kid left behind. It's nonsense. This is complete nonsense. If you can't even, she's not even eligible to work at a gas station. Graduated high school with honors.
I'm happy this girl has graduated, because if she has to go now through her life by using speech to text to find a job or keep a job, who's going to help this girl? Not you, but you feel good about your moral points that you help a girl. Or maybe an immigrant, or maybe a disabled person, or maybe my son who has autism. Nah, you need to help the kids properly.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Butta fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk yo colombici jam jam dur loketa berdetta welcome.